I can't
Yeah.
help with that stuff. So
It's
we
a lot
did.
of formulas. It's a
Yeah.
lot of formulas, and you would think it's very straightforward. Like the professor and the homeworks, some of the problems are easy, but some get like pretty difficult, and you don't know what formulas to use, Like it does get very, like, the concepts get pretty confusing because you use a lot of numerical concept.
Ugh, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, that my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, me neither. But hey, life is life. So
Life is life. Hey, we got her that Chegg. It's something that you pay for. I'm,
yeah,
do you have that, or I
I
don't
I
know if,
don't. I've heard of Chegg, and a lot of people use it to
yeah,
like get the step-by-step procedures. I look up online
yeah.
sometimes to solve for the problems and stuff, like the step-by-step on how they solve them. But sometimes they don't have it. Sometimes you need to pay for it, and
Yeah.
some you don't. And so, like, yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes the
I
explanation.
know for some classes it works well for her, and for some others she says it just it doesn't help. But
Oh,
yeah,
chemistry helped me though. Like chemistry, like looking up like the step by step, and besides, like, surprising. I mean, I took intro to chemistry, but it's it's not as hard as physics. It really
oh,
isn't. It's not as hard. You would think it is, because there's also a lot of like, there's the periodic table, and there's also numerical thing, which can be hard, but there's also on a lot of the tests too. He didn't only use mathematical things. He also
uh-huh.
used, like, oh, you have to identify this, like what kind of mineral, or like, those kind of things. I'm more of a I learn from words. I don't learn from numbers. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, no, I get you. I get
Hey,
you.
try Socratic. I don't know if you have that on your phone, but I use it
Oh,
for astronomy.
Really?
Yeah, it works for a lot of my astronomy stuff. I don't know about your physics class, but
Cody, I just learned about that Socratic thing. My oldest was in town, and then two of her cousins who are both in college were here, and they were doing that, showing that. And so what is it? You just scan your phone and it pretty much reads the question and then pulls up websites that could possibly answer it.
yeah, you can do it that way. You can type it in. Um, and then
Yeah.
there's also, see, I didn't know until January when I enrolled in astronomy that that was code word for somewhat astrophysics.
Oh yeah. Cody,
So,
I took
yeah.
astronomy. It's insane, right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
actually thought I was fixing to graduate in May, but I need another science block since I'm a psychology major.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So I actually took her astronomy, the second one, stars and galaxies.
You wait,
So, uh,
you need astronomy for
well, I
psychology?
just need two
What?
science classes and two science labs. So I
Huh.
took that as opposed to biology just because I thought it would be more interesting.
Yeah.
Not
And
necessarily beneficial, but interesting.
I
yeah. Well,
much prefer biology.
So,
I I took it because I thought it'd be easier. I was scared of biology, and then back in my day, we didn't have to take subsequent science classes. So I took intro, they're like the very first one of astronomy, and then the very first one of geology.
yeah, see, I was always good when it came to biology in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I have a friend who is a retired biology professor that used to teach in Torreon in Mexico.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
And also, I think University of Utah or Montana, somewhere in the Midwest. So yeah, I kind of wanted something that I was completely new to, but like I said, I had no idea. I thought I would be using telescopes, not calculating luminosities of the sun, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
So it's not too bad. But yeah, that
Did you like
Socratic
to
has helped
watch
me out a lot.
missiles? Did you like to
Socratic.
watch missiles and try
Is
to
it
find the
paid
places?
for it, or like how much is it?
The Socratic is free.
Oh really? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
an
through
app or?
yeah, it's an app. It's through Google. So yeah, it's free. Socratic's free, Quizlet's free. I think somebody gave me a Brainly password, but I hardly ever use it.
Oh, Brainly. Yeah, I've been using Brainly for most of the questions and stuff, but sometimes don't get I don't get the explanation I need. Like I'm trying to get the step by step, but I'm trying to understand the step by step. You know what I mean? I don't sometimes I just copy it because I'm tired, but most of the time the reason why I need the step by step is so that I can replicate it or I can understand it. And if I don't understand it, normally I wouldn't use the step by step.
Right. Well, good
Yeah.
luck on your physics class. I'm
I
still
really
trying to, I don't know. I watched those videos from last week, Miss Valles.
Okay.
I don't know. I got lost about halfway through, but
Oh, you did on the t-tests?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you, I think it was like after the third or fourth formula, I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing no more. But I was
Yeah.
also doing them overnight. So it was like 4 a.m. I was like, yeah, I give up. I'll watch them again later.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. So, and I've thought about it. There's it, just this format, this Zoom, this online, it's just so different. It's different for me. It's different from you. And I once I'm done with the classes, I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, like how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do this now? And so I promise you guys, I stress about it. I think about it. um, we are not going to try and do the 2 sample t-tests this week, right? Natalia, I'm scared to say this because I don't want to add stress to you, but right, so we have our exam open on Friday, okay? I know, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
But it's just going to be over a lot of the definitions from like the sampling distribution, the types of samples, the central limit theorem, kind of those ideas that we talked about in chapter 8, I want to say. And then we'll get into this, and this will be like your main problem, the single sample t-test. I'm going to push the 2 sample t-test to next week. And so we don't have to stress about trying to do that for the test, okay? I've also been kind of thinking about that it was not pointless, but kind of pointless that I did where I would just repeat myself on Wednesday instead of just making it a whole other class. Like I feel like I just want another class with you guys. But I feel like since we've already started it this way, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to try and change it. But anyways, it's like I feel like just meeting one time, it just doesn't work. It's not enough.
So the test is over what chapter?
Well, that's a good question because I've been so kind of off on this. What am I doing? Oh, I've been so off on my schedule. So let me try and see, which I apologize, guys, that that it's like this. Oh, well, shoot, did we have chapter 8 on the last test? You know what? I would have to go back and look at, I would have to go back and look at the last exam. But honestly, I feel like it would be a little bit of chapter 8 and chapter 9. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And if chapter 8 was on the last test, if anyone remembers, it would be like sampling distribution, which now I'm thinking about it, it might have been.
What did we do for the sampling distribution?
Like a sampling distribution is where they talk about like expected value and standard error. There's the central limit theorem, which states as the sample size increases, the distribution starts to look like a normal distribution.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we did that for last exam.
On the last test.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I would have to look at it. But how about this? I mean, no matter what, I would send an announcement. And I leave the test open. It's not going to shut on you. You have time to take it. Um, and yeah, okay. So don't stress about it. Um, I think just some of these concepts and learning how to do some of these, like the single sample t-test, calculating standard deviation. I mean, these are all things that you need to know. And so we're just going to hammer home what you need to know and what is important for you all to move on. And we're not going to try and mess with too much of the stuff that's not necessarily that important. Okay, we will do the 2 sample t-test. I am gonna at some point show you effect size and ANOVA. We can do this. I can show you this and we can get some main concepts from this, but if you don't necessarily learn how to calculate it, I'm okay with that because to be honest with you, nobody calculates ANOVA by hand. It's something that you put into the computer and it calculates a number for you. We don't have that software at EPCC. They won't pay for it for us. So it's really kind of ridiculous. But we can show you, I can show you what it does, what it tells you. I can even show you like the data that comes out of SPSS, that's the software, and how to read it. If you go on to UTEP and you start doing studies and things like that, you would use that software up there. And it's very user-friendly. It's once you look at it and you know how to read the output, it's very easy to interpret. Okay, so almost like the idea of teaching you by hand is very archaic. And EPCC tells us like, oh, well, you can teach them on Excel. Well, Excel is not user-friendly, especially with that stuff. And you would never use it again. So it's almost like, why do that? Why mess with that? So anyway, so don't stress. We're still covering everything we need to know for this class. Okay, I'm still confident in that. I'm confident that you're learning what you need to learn to move on. Okay, so let's go over this single sample t-test, this homework that I put up there for you guys. And Cody, we'll go over some of the formulas. Okay. So I noticed something. I'm not sure if you all noticed this or not. Here it says data from 10 students, but we did not have 10 data points. Okay, so I'm not sure if anybody picked up on that, right?
Thank you. I couldn't figure that one out either.
I actually messaged you about that. I didn't turn it in because I can show you right now what I worked out, and it's.
Oh. I
mean, because I was really confused on that. I don't know if you got my message.
Susana, was it in the messenger on Blackboard?
It was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't open those yet. And here's the reason behind, because I thought they were everybody submitting them and I didn't want to lose them. I wanted them to stay there like highlighted so I could go back and grade them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I knew if I opened it, I might lose it. So I just noticed this morning while I was doing it. I did my calculations, but I just did it by the numbers. I never looked up there in the words. And so I just saw that 10 students. And I apologize if that added stress to anybody for that. So we would technically, we would ignore that. That's a typo. And we would just go by these 8 data points that are here. Okay. So the N would be 8. And then the degrees of freedom would be 7, right?
Yes. That's what I got.
Okay, good. Yay. Okay, good.
But I was gonna tell you that I actually didn't turn it in. I don't know if it's possible if I could just get another. If it would be too much work for you to just give me another t-test sample.
Oh, no, just turn it in. No, yeah, no stress.
I can still turn it in?
Yes, of course. Of
Okay, I'll
course.
send it.
Yeah, Susanna, I think there's only a handful of people that turn stuff in. So yes, please
Oh,
turn
okay.
it.
And then I didn't, because I didn't see a due date on there either, or if I might have missed it, maybe.
Yeah.
The due date. I don't know if I
No.
didn't see it and it was there.
No due date. Okay, so for students that are very type A and on top of things and really good, I'm probably like the worst professor for you. I never put due dates. I never.
Oh, no,
um,
no.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I know that stresses some students out. No, you know what? Just during this time, I mean, I guess Cody probably knows. I've never really been like that. I accept everything late. You know, it just, I don't know. To me, we're, we're adults. We have lives. Things happen. And my
Yeah.
mission in life is not to stress students out. So, yes.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
But
So just
yeah, I'll turn it in then.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
So what is-
So these are the numbers you got.
Yes. So far, what you have on there, I have that. Yes.
Okay, good.
I didn't know that you had this. So like, how did you get these numbers?
No stress. Right under here, under assignments.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's all right. No worries. Here's that single. This is what I pulled up. Okay.
Okay.
And that's just, so it's just a practice, Natalia, no stress.
Okay.
Okay. And so, yeah, we're just working through, I just decided we'd work through this now, and just show everybody kind of how to do this. So these are the numbers that I got. The sum of x, the 63, obviously is adding up our x's.
Okay.
The sum of x squared, right, is adding up our x squared.
Okay.
Okay, n is 8 because there's 8 data
Yeah.
points here.
Yep.
Remember, degrees of freedom is n minus 1, right? That doesn't look like a D, but that degrees of freedom is n minus 1, so I got 7.
That was what it was. I'm sorry. I did
I-
not understand that.
What
Okay.
that one? Yeah, I know. This,
That looked weird.
I can't, I don't know, my finger, it doesn't work. I apologize. So that's DF, degrees of freedom. And then our mean, our sample mean was 7.88. And I got that by 63, right? The total 63 divided by 8 gave us 7.88.
And then the N is what? Sorry?
N is how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 data points.
Okay.
That didn't look good either, but I'm going to write the population mean is 7. It tells us that right here. Okay, it's saying that the typical college student reports 7 hours of sleep. Okay, so that's the population mean. I'm sorry, I can't draw a mu very well. Okay, so then step 1, I mean, not to put anybody on the spot, but does anyone want to try the, oops, I have to write that. Does anyone want to try the hypotheses?
I actually had a question on step 1.
Oh, uh-huh.
Would that be the part where you kind of guess whether it's gonna accept it or reject it?
Well, I don't know exactly what you're saying. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It has to do with the 7 hours, right? Is what I'm saying. Like you're kind of gonna see if that's.
So you're gonna write the hypotheses. We're gonna write the null hypothesis, and we write the research hypothesis. And so I guess, it is kind of like you're guessing, but there is, I guess, there's not too much guessing though, Susanna. There's it's very clear in what the null hypothesis states, and it's very clear in what the research hypothesis states, but I understand what you're saying by guessing. Maybe I'm getting hung up on that word a little bit too much.
No, I think I used the wrong word.
No.
I don't know how
So-
what
so,
how I'm
yeah.
trying to say it,
So
but
the
it
null
definitely has to do with
hypothesis-
the 7 hours, right?
that
Like
yes.
I'm on the right track.
Yes. So,
Okay.
and this is gonna, oh my God, this is, I'm not gonna be able to even write this. So let me erase. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna type it, guys, because I can't write that. All right. So I'm just gonna put the ho because I don't want to do subscript right now. All right, so the null hypothesis would state that there will be no difference. I'm gonna say in mean sleep hours between the sample of statistics students, and typical college students. I'm just using the words that were up in this problem, okay? So you
that's already
could,
basically, it's already being said up there, right? That the 7 hours is what is the typical average sleep hours of a
yes,
student. Okay,
yes, and
that's
you,
what I was trying to say, kind of.
yeah, no, I get you, and so you could say there will be no difference in mean sleep hours between the sample of statistics students and the typical college students. You know, another way to say this, maybe I'll do it like this. The mean sleep hours of statistics students will not equal, maybe this is what you were trying to say better, 7 hours. That's a very simple way to say it, and it includes the 7 hours. The mean sleep hours of statistics students will not equal 7 hours. Susana, there's a lot of ways to say these, and you know, lots of different ways to say it. So and that's why sometimes it might be a little confusing. But yes, right. And so then with the null hypothesis, or I'm sorry, with the alternative or the research hypothesis, this is where the researchers are saying they believe that there will be a difference.
Okay.
Now up here in these, in this little word problem, we don't get any hint as to what this researcher thinks. Maybe she or he thinks that the statistics students are not sleeping 7 hours, like maybe they're sleeping less than 7 hours. Maybe she
Yes.
thinks they sleep more than 7. I have no idea, right? She doesn't say. It doesn't say. So we're just going to keep it open and simple. And so we'll say there will be a difference, okay, in sleep hours. I'm not going to say between the sample and the population. I'm just going to make it real simple, real quick. The sample, the sample and the population. Or of course, to go along with the other one that we were saying, we could say the mean sleep hours of the sample, I don't know, we'll say it like this, the sample students will not equal 7 hours. Oops. Okay. So yes, that's what you were saying, right? Like whether you're guessing it's going to equal or not equal the 7 hours. And
or is it more like you're either agreeing or not agreeing with what they are saying? Is that another way you could?
Yeah, or I guess here we're just making two statements. The null hypothesis always says there will be no difference, okay? The research hypothesis says obviously there will be a difference, because why else would they be doing the research, right? They they feel like there must be something going on. You don't need to make a claim further than that. You don't need to like set it in stone, like this is how it's going to go down.
Okay.
You can make very broad statements that the null hypothesis is just saying that there's not going to be a difference, and the
Okay.
alternative hypothesis is just saying that there will be a difference. Okay.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of weird to say, but if we think of, if you've ever read like a scholarly article about a study, about research, so at the very beginning, right, they all kind of flow the same way. They have some background information that is going to give them reason to make their statement. It's information that is going to guide their theory, right? And so whatever that may be, you know, in this little paragraph right here, we don't get that. We don't get any of that information. So in a research article, right, they have all this information, and then the researcher has a theory about how it's going to work out, and that guides that alternative hypothesis. Okay. At our level here, we don't need to make a claim about whether we think they're going to sleep less or more. We don't need to do that here. Okay, we're just saying it, in some way it's going to be different. But that's generally how that goes. And in that first kind of introduction of an article, they make a hypothesis statement. They say, you know, the research, we feel that the study is going to do this. Okay. Sometimes they just leave it kind of open also. They just want to evaluate if there's a difference. So we don't need to make any guesses here. We don't need to make any hard claims of how the data is going to turn out. And the reason why is, as like scientists, we just want to find the truth, right? We're not going to be influenced. We just want to see what the numbers are going to say, and then let that determine our conclusion. So at the very end, once we make our statement of whether to reject or fail to reject or accept the null hypothesis, at that point is when we get to say the evidence has either supported or not supported what we thought was going to happen. So I know that's probably a really long explanation, but it's just here we're just going to try and be as neutral as possible. Okay, we're just saying that the null hypothesis says there's not going to be a difference, and the alternative hypothesis says there will be a difference. I hope that kind of answers it.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. And you guys can always tell me we get it, shut up. Because I know sometimes I go, my kids get mad. They're like, you go on, you talk too much about it.
No, thank you.
Thanks. I'm just letting you guys know. So these are the critical values that I found. And let me show you where I found those, just in case.
Okay, good. I did it right.
You're like, please, yes. You know what I have not done? I have not put up that T table. I remembered that I wanted to do that.
Since we're doing this work right now, how do we turn it in?
You could take a picture of it if you want. You could just take a picture of it and email it to me. That would probably be the easiest.
Sure.
Yeah or no?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll do it like that then.
Okay. So here's just a little snapshot of the table. Remember the T table? To find our critical values, we have to look at the degrees of freedom. And then we're always because it didn't state otherwise, we are in a two-tailed 0.05. So we're in this column over here, okay? And then to go with 7 degrees of freedom, we get 2.365. Yeah or no?
I did that part wrong. I did it on the, where is it? On the first one, on the 0.50.
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. At least you see it, right?
And so no, but I did, yeah, it's the 0.05.
0.05.
Okay.
Mama, why?
Mhm.
0.05.
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked at the book right now, so that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, that's perfect. And because my stupid camera doesn't work, sorry, Susanna, I know I have a little kid there, sorry. Because my camera doesn't work, I can't show you my book. But yeah, this is just a snapshot of those first few degrees of freedoms. And so that's where we got it from. Does anybody have any questions on this part?
Nope.
We're okay with that? Okay.
Yep. To be
Okay.
honest, I think the easiest thing for me, this is very contradictory from what I said about numbers. In this case, I feel like the numbers, doing the calculations are easier than doing the hypothesis.
Yeah, yeah. No, Natalia, trust me.
I agree.
You agree too, Susanna?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
I know. In statistics, yeah, I don't know that I guess that's just why I love statistics, because it made me feel like, hey, look, I can do math, you know. But and this part, I understand what you're saying, and this part is hard. It's hard to sometimes, like, conceptually, to understand what it is that we're looking at. And I promise you that that's hard even high up for researchers. Sometimes it's very hard to put into words exactly what you're looking at and what you're doing. In like biology and chemistry, granted, I'm not, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a scientist, but I feel like those are a little more straightforward. It's a little easier. You're saying things like, we add 0.5 of this solution to 0.5 of this solution. It's very easy to, what they call an operational definition. It's very easy to define what you're evaluating. Here, it just is so open, and it just seems sometimes a little bit harder to verbalize. So I get you, I feel you on that part. And I probably, the way that I'm constantly saying it different ways might confuse you more, but what I'm trying to show you is there are a million different ways to say this. The way I say it is not necessarily right? The way you say it, well, I don't know about right, but the way I say it is one way. The way you say it is another way. And I guess that's why I always tell people, like, just start off very basic. Start off with, there will be no difference between the two groups, if you want to say it like that. And then, go on and trying to expand on that statement. Okay, there will be no difference in what? What are they looking at? And so in this example, right, they're looking at sleep or hours of sleep. Okay, so there will be no difference in hours of sleep between the two groups. Okay, what are the two groups? Who are they comparing? What are they looking at? And then at that point, you can expand on what are the two groups. Oh, one of the groups is the